What's going on? It's yours truly, just saying with me. They call me Mr. Telefarrell. How's everybody doing out there? Happy holidays to you and yours. Where my hat at? Here go my hat on the ground. Gotta put my Christmas, you know what I mean? Let me get in my vibe real quick. Speaking of Christmas, I'm still doing my giveaway. Thank you for everybody that's followed me. If you have not followed me yet, look right above. Follow me on Instagram at It's Mr. Telefarrell. Do the at It's Mr. Telefarrell one. And you're going to be in the running to win potentially Apple AirPods. That's what I'm doing this year. Or you could potentially win some Amazon gift cards. We always do Amazon gift cards. Other subscribers can vouch for that. I give away Amazon gift cards every year on my platform because they're quick, easy to give away. But also this year, I'm going to up the ante. Y'all been supporting your boy extra hard this year. I'm super grateful to you guys. So I'm be giving away some Apple AirPods. Where my AirPods at? They somewhere around here. Yeah, I'm be giving away them things. Them wireless boys. So I want you to, enter and potentially win. And I just want to kind of bless you and your family this holiday season. So please make sure you follow me on Instagram at It's Mr. Telefarrell. Details is on the way. I know people like, yo, Telefarrell, you ain't said nothing about them gift cards and them AirPods yet. Bro, chill. It's December 6th. We got time. I'm trying to obviously build this thing and promote this thing. It's December 6th. I will make announcements soon enough how you can win free stuff from yours truly. Just stay tuned. I got you. Let's stay tuned into some podcast wars here, because I do believe there's some beefs going on in some very infamous podcasts. So we have Charlamagne of The Breakfast Club. Also, he has his Brilliant Idiots podcast with Andrew Schultz. And we got the Joe Budden podcast. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to let y'all know how I rock out. I always listen to The Breakfast Club. I always listen to Joe Budden's podcast. Like, I can't miss those two daily. And then I sometimes listen to the Brilliant Idiots podcast. I say once every 2 weeks. Yeah, once every 2 weeks. But I never miss a Joe Budden podcast, ever. And I never miss a Breakfast Club interview. That's just two things I don't do. So, I'm able, as a journalist, I'm able to study these guys, probably overanalyze some of the things they say. Let me just call a spade a spade. I don't know why it's this way, but Mal of the Joe Budden podcast is a Charlamagne hater. And I want to be clear, I don't have any dog in this fight. I don't personally know Charlamagne. I don't personally know anybody on the Joe Budden podcast. But Mal is legit the definition of a Charlamagne hater. Do me a favor. Next time the Joe Budden podcast brings up Charlamagne, and they do bring him up a lot, listen to the tone and the saltiness you can hear from Mal's voice. And I don't get it, because Mal seemed like a pretty stand-up dude. But when it comes to Charlamagne in any way, he just seems so salty. And I wonder, is it because Mal thinks he is the Charlamagne of their podcast? And all due respect to Mal, I wish him nothing but the best. You're not of that yoke. Like, Charlamagne's an all-time interviewer to me. Mal, you're just a personality on a podcast. Like, you do realize that, right? And again, Joe Budden podcast is my favorite podcast. But I wonder, does Mal think he's anywhere close to Charlamagne's yoke? If that's what he's thinking, he's incredibly wrong on a lot of accords. But every time Joe Budden's podcast brings up Charlamagne, Mal just puts a little bit more sauce on it. Like, I'm fine with the criticism. Criticize him. Joe criticize him. Rory criticize him. They make jokes. They clown Charlamagne. But with Mal, it gets like personal. And I'd be like, yo, like, bruh was on y'all show one time. Yeah, I watch every episode. So Charlamagne came on the Joe Budden podcast one time, and Mal ain't keep that same energy. They always clowning Joe about not keeping that same energy. Mal ain't keep that energy when Charlamagne was in his face. Mal, if a matter of fact, Mal was like, bro, I had you read wrong. That's what he said to Charlamagne when they met in person. So I don't really understand that part of the game. Anywho, Charlamagne's been under fire for another questionable comment by a man who considers himself to be straight. Look, Charlamagne makes some questionable comments. This one came a couple weeks ago. He was on Serge Ibaka's cooking show, and this grown man asked another grown man, is that all you in your pants? He was asking about his penis print to Serge Ibaka. It was disgusting. As a journalist, it was one of the nastiest questions I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it was nasty. Matter of fact, I called into the Breakfast Club one day, and I even brought this up to Char. Like, yo, this is a nasty question. Every now and then I'll call in. I got a plug that gets me straight through. Listen to this.
Hold on, we got to revisit this Charlamagne Serge Ibaka comment one more time. I know it's Friday. I know it happened a few days ago, but we got to.
It's Freaky Friday. Let's talk about it.
Look, man, Charlamagne, I'm a journalist. I've rolled for you. I've literally had your back in a lot of situations with my friends. They called you all type of names, all type of gays, and I was there for you, bro. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm questioning all that with that Serge Ibaka comment, bro. I'm looking kind of funny with my crew right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well,
Why?
first of all, there's nothing wrong with being gay.
Nothing wrong with being gay. That's not
Right.
That's not what we're saying. But Charlamagne perceived to be a straight male.
I am a straight male.
Look, don't judge it. We don't know what he is. He could be whatever he wants to be, bro.
Listen, I'm a straight male. I don't know why they like to use gay as an insult, but here's the thing. If you can ask a woman about her body parts and if her body parts are real, you should be able to ask a man the same thing. And I was asking on behalf of women, so I feel like I was doing my job as a good journalist.
You're 100% right, bro. But is that all you should never come out of a man's mouth?
You're right. You're right. You're right. It could have been worded a little different. You're right. Listen, you're right. You're right. It could have been worded a little different.
I can't even argue, bro. Because
You know what I'm saying?
I asked the man if that was his meat. So I'm
You did?
yeah.
Hey,
Before the record,
Envy, the streets kind of looking at you kind of funny too, bro. I'm not gonna lie. We just kind of looking at everything a little differently this morning.
why y'all looking at things differently? Listen, I'll tell you this though. You can go to servefresh.com and buy a Is That All You t-shirt. It's got the eggplant and the eye emojis on it. No, I'm dead serious.
Yo, you done flipped it into a marketing scheme.
I flip everything into a marketing scheme. Do you not know it's all about me?
Yeah, so apparently on the Joe Budden podcast, they were going in on Charlamagne, and Charlamagne must have heard it, and it offended him. If I'm not mistaken, what happened on Joe's podcast was they started talking about how Charlamagne has weird relationships with like these people he calls nieces, or like that work at the Breakfast Club, right? He's got a crew of chicks that he calls his nieces, and Charlamagne was trying to sell it with Serge Ibaka like, yo, my nieces want to know about your penis print. But it just sounded crazy, and Joe's podcast was going in on Charlamagne about a week or so ago, and I'm not gonna lie, I was with Joe's podcast. I agree. That little niece relationship that Char's got with that little uncle niece relationship he has, that's nasty. I'm a uncle, and if I had a niece, I would never go up to another man and be like, yo, my niece want to know about your penis size. Is that you? Is that all you? I would never. That sounds crazy. I don't know any uncle in his right mind. I said right mind uncle, so don't go naming your uncle when you know goddamn well he ain't in his right mind. I don't know any right-minded uncles that go around saying, yo, what's up, bro? My niece want to know what your penis looking like. Like, is that all you? Like, I don't know no uncle that do that. So I was with Joe's podcast. I was like, yo, bro, that is a very weird comment to make. It got back to Charlamagne. I'm guessing he watched the episode. And on the Brilliant Idiots podcast, Charlamagne had a response to Joe's podcast. Here's the diss.
I wanna spend some time to talk about my fan club just for a second. I have a fan club, and I'm very proud of my fan club. Yes, my fan club is the #1 most streamed podcast on Spotify. Salute to the Joe Budden podcast. That's my fan club. Right?
Why is that?
Why is that a why? They my fan club.
Why? Because were they talking about you a
They
lot?
talk about me all the time. I love it. I appreciate it. It's a mutual respect. I salute Joe, but I don't ever really, question anything Joe says. Like, me and Joe have conversations behind the scenes, but he said something last week that I really did not understand because it was just illogical.
Okay.
And he was talking about the interview I did with, not the interview that Serge Ibaka did with me on Serge Ibaka's show, How Hungry Are You?
Yes.
And, I asked Serge Ibaka if his penis was real.
Yes.
Basically, right? Which I think, for people to be upset about that, I just think that's a double standard. Because these women come in here with fake titties and fake asses.
Fake lips,
and
fake
lips and
eyelashes,
everything.
fake
And
hair.
when we ask them about it, it's fair game.
Yeah.
If women are talking about guys be stuffing their gray sweatpants to make it look like they got more of a bulge,
Yes.
I think that's a very valid question to ask him if it's all him.
Yeah, so you heard Charlamagne said straight out of his mouth, he looks at the Joe Budden podcast as his fan club. And I get where he's coming from in that regard, right? Because, look, here's the reality of the situation. Charlamagne comes, if you watch the Joe Budden podcast, you know I'm telling the truth about this. Charlamagne comes up, I would say, one every 2-3 episodes, right? Whether it's him with the Angela Yee situation, this situation, Charlamagne's always coming up on Joe's podcast. And Joe's podcast goes in, and then you got Maul throwing a little extra salt on it. So I get it. Charlamagne's like, yo, bro, y'all talk about me a lot for content. I'm gonna play devil's advocate though in Joe's defense. Charlamagne is no longer just a media personality. He is the media personality of the culture. He just so happens to listen to Joe's podcast, so it gets back to him. Like, bro, you one of the biggest we got in the culture. People are gonna talk about you. Like, you are more than just 1/3 of the Breakfast Club. People would argue, as y'all celebrate y'all 9-year anniversary, congratulations. You are the Breakfast Club. You're going to come up in other platforms and outlets, and I believe Charlamagne's kind of struggling with dealing with that in a way. But I think it's great from a content perspective. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment box below. Charlamagne disses Joe Budden's podcast. Where do we go from here? He calls them his fans. He said he got a fan club, and it starts with Joe Budden podcast. And though Charlamagne ain't never say this, I guarantee you that's not for Joe. I mean, he clearly has a relationship with Joe. Him and Joe gonna kick it and do this year-end wrap-up show soon. This ain't about Joe Budden. This ain't about Rory. Charlamagne really believes Maul's a fan of his. That was for Maul. I guarantee you that. Y'all let me know in the comment box below what you think about Charlamagne saying the Joe Budden podcast is his fan club. Happy holidays to you and yours. Again, make sure you're following me. What the hell am I doing? Make sure you're following me on Instagram at It's Mr. Telefero. What was I? Anywho, make sure you follow me on Instagram at It's Mr. Telefero, and you can potentially win big this holiday season. I'm out. I came from nothing, but I want everything God has for me. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I still represent the culture.
All the kids, they tuned in.
We locked in right now, Mr.
Telefero.
Mr. Telefero.
Shout out to Mr. Telefero.
You're watching Mr. Telefero TV.
Mr. Telefero TV.